The quota of people in here, so I'm going to go ahead and start the YouTube highlight from right here. Like I said, it's Tuesday. You guys, welcome to the raid leader portion of the weekly, schedule that we got going on. Pretty much this week we're going to be talking about, I'm going to go over each fight. It's not necessarily raid leader oriented. I mean, it is in a way, and it's also just like, it could fall under the category of just whoever's making decisions in your guild, whether it's your GM or whoever, another officer. They don't necessarily have to have the raid leader tag, but it is oriented to a raid leader in some fashion. One second. So what we're going to talk about in regards to that is just going to be 10 versus 25 man difficulty. Which fights are easier on 10 man and which fights are easier on 25 man or harder, whatever you want to look at it like. So that's going to be the main focus for today. I don't know how much time that's going to take. Maybe not so much. We'll just take each fight, go over some of the pros and cons of 10 versus 25s, and hopefully give some people some insight on, should my guild, be looking to kill it? Because I mean, think some guilds do content like, okay, well, this fight's a little bit harder on 10 man, and they just want to get the points for killing it or whatever. You could find yourself, downgrading to a 10 man to do it. I mean, like, take tier 11. I mean, you heard a lot of fallout from it and whatnot, but not only us, there were several guilds that actually killed Alakir on 10 man first. So, the upside of that is you get the points on WoW Progress. And I mean, no one wants to be doing content on 10 man. I mean, everybody would want to do it on 25 man, but that was just a fight that was exponentially easier on 10 man. And, at the time, guilds like, take us for example, we were still working on other fights. I think it was Sinestra and Nefarian at the time, so you didn't really have the time to do, to fit in more, 25 man raiding hours, whereas, we did have the time to put together a 10 man on, like, I think it was on a Saturday. It may not be the case with, or it probably won't be the case with us anymore. I can definitely see it being the case in the future. Like, say a fight is just like nearly impossible on 25 man, and say a fight is doable on 10 man, or even vice versa. I could see, I guess it's really more realistic for guilds to downgrade to 10 to get a kill and move on from there, but not so much upgrade to 25 man. So, but either way, the point I'm trying to get at is if you're sitting there and you find yourself at a crossroads and it's like, I wonder if this fight's easier to do on 10 man, or if you just want to know, if you're looking for a guild and you're just going to base it on, what you think would be more challenging or whatever. I'm just going to give you the lowdown because I did all the content on both 10 and 25 man during its, pre-nerf stages, and, we got quite, well, I mean, Spine a little bit more so after the initial nerf. We did pulls on it pre-nerf on our 10 man on alts, but, we have cleared all content the past two tiers on 10 man heroic as well as 25 at a pretty decent level, like top 25. Top 25 range as far as US ranking in 10 mans. So, but yeah, then again, I mean, we don't really put any focus on 10 mans outside of, progression. I mean, once, 25 mans done, we focus on 10s. So, with that out of the way, I'm just giving you a preview of, what I'm trying to go with, because I know it's a whole entire can of worms. You got 10 man versus 25 man, and everybody gets all like clashy about it and things like that. It's not meant to say that one's better than the other, a 25-man guild's better than a 10-man. It's just some fights are easier and some fights aren't, and we're going to go over the differences between the two. Outside of that, you guys can ask any questions that you have on anything raid leader oriented. Try to keep it focused on that topic today, or during each show, try to keep it focused on the topic. So if you've got a question and it's in some way, shape, or form related to being a raid leader or something like that, go ahead and toss it in chat and we'll get to it. Okay, with that said, let's go ahead and get that started with just the comparisons. So we're going to go ahead and start with Morchok. And that's a fight where it's kind of hard to draw a line on which is easier and which is harder. That's a fight where it's pretty much easy regardless, 10 or 25 man. If you're looking at 25 man, you need at least 5 healers, and you could probably get away with 2 healing each side if you had really good geared healers with the nerf now. So if you guys are just looking at raid comp 25 man for Morchok, that's what we're going to do for all these fights, just break down the rough amount of healers needed and things like that. and probably just also name the strongest tank class for each one of the fights, and then people will go over questions as people have them. So again, Morchok on 25-man. I'll go ahead and type this up as I'm doing it so I can put it in the YouTube description when I upload this. 25-man healer count for Morchok is going to be... Let me just get this open. And I'll do this with you guys so you guys can just go along with me here. Google Docs. Let's go ahead and create document. Okay, so let's go with... we'll just go down... Compare 10-man, 25-man. So got Morchok. Actually, no. Let's delete that. Let's do it on a spreadsheet format. Spreadsheets are a lot better. All right. Let's just do it up like this. Let's do 25-man, 10-man. So one on the left here. Let's go with Morchok. Zon'ozz, Yor'sahh, Hagara, Ultraxion, Gunship, Spine, Madness. Okay, so these are your fights. Let's actually go with this. Then, I have no idea what my dog is barking at. Hopefully he stops or I'm going to have to AFK and see what the hell he's doing. Try him in healer, comp. Let's go with 10-man, tank, tank. What's a good way to put this? Like the strongest primary tank. Yeah, it's 10-man tank. Like I'm just gonna list who is best suited for the fight and who is not. So we go with this. So got Morchok, and I'm gonna load it bigger for you guys to read it. Then we can I'll share this with you guys, and you guys can go along with it here. Let's see, 10 versus 25-man. Okay. We're going to toss this in chat, and then we'll just go ahead and get it going. This is like an active thing. Just get some input from you guys and things like that. So we're going to go with Morchok first. Actually, let's just do it like this. Let's... Morchok, you want to... I would honestly say 3 heal it. Put 3 healers on the right side. 3. I'll go ahead and put that in comments. Put 3 on right side. Or I'm sorry, put 2. 2 on right side. 1 on left. Okay, you can 2 or 3 heal it. Okay, so I'm just gonna put that on for Morchok. Tank comp for 10-man. It really, pretty even. I'll just go ahead and chalk that up to a, yeah, not that much disparity between your tank classes. So what we're gonna do. Yeah. Alright. 25-man, you want a 5 or 6 heal it. 5 to 6. Commended. Alright, we're just gonna have a comment thing here. 10-man healer comments, and then we'll do 25-man healer comments. Okay. As far as this fight goes, 10-man wise, you want a pally, solo healing, left. That's generally a solid rule of thumb. And you always want a disc plus the other one doesn't matter on the right side. And the reason you want more people on the right side on 10-man is you're going to have more stomps on the right side. Sorry, lost my train of thought there for a second. So yeah, you're going to want your disc priest on the right side, just for shields and things like that. 25-man healing comp, I don't know. I would say like, yeah, let's just stick with 5 recommended. I don't want to put 6. I don't want people overhealing it because, you know, the whole deal about this stream is it's supposed to be promoting, you know, people that are trying to better their rating, you know, knowledge and how it's working and things like that. I wouldn't really want people trying to overheal encounters. You know, you always, as a guild, you want to be pushing to underheal things. That way stuff dies quicker. You know, more DPS is always the answer, not more healing. So, you know, we'll go ahead and put 5 recommended. And then you want that to be 2 on left, 3 on right. Healer comps for this 25-man, you want shaman are pretty. If you have a shaman, put the shaman on the left. Actually, it doesn't even matter, man, where you put the shaman. Just in a 25-man environment. You know, if you have a disc, I would recommend if you have a disc, put it on the right. That'd be the only thing I would probably chime in for that with and things like that. So it's not that big of a deal as far as like where you're putting your healer comp for Morchok. Okay. One thing I want to quickly note about tanks, it's not really that big of a deal. I mean, any tank class is really qualified to do Morchok. DKs are, you can make an argument that they're the strongest. I would say like DK have a slight edge due to controlled mitigation on demand for these stomps. So I mean, you can make an argument like that, though, that it's the same with other classes as well. You know what I mean? With, you know, in fact, I'm just not even going to put that there. I'm just going to leave it pretty even. It's not worth getting into the debate of why, you know, I don't want somebody thinking my class is inferior or whatever. Warrior and a Paladin both have shield block and Holy Shield respectively, and doing that during the stomp is pretty strong. So, you know, you kind of run into, you know, there's no issues across the board, 10 versus 25 man on that fight. There's the recommended healer numbers for those, say 2 or 3 heal. How you spell recommended? Is it 1C or 2? 2 heal, but 3 recommended. Okay. So yeah, not going to spend too much time on Morchok. If anybody has questions about any of these, let me just scroll through here and just find out what you guys have going on in question-wise. So one guy's asking about spine. Just go to my YouTube, man. It's linked below. I've got like a 2-hour guide in there, and it tells you any and everything you need to know about spine. I don't want to turn this into, you know, me answering questions about fights that we're not really talking about right now. So one guy here says he's a raid leader of a former 25-man guild, recently moved to 10-man due to being so hard to recruit. I'm enjoying 10, but 25 was sort of superior. Most 10-man fights seem to be harder or easier. No, it's not really the case. We're going to go over that here. Let's see. This one guy's got a question about recruitment, somewhat raid leader related, because like you guys noticed if you were in the show, not what is it, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, we were talking about how involved raid leaders should be in the recruitment process. So I mean, it definitely applies. You know, you should just be. You don't really need to be looking at someone's eye level and raid experience. I mean, sure, that shit matters, but I mean, like, say we're in an 8 out of 8 guild. You know, if we have somebody that apps here that's 5 out of 8, you know what I mean? Like, just because they haven't killed Madness does not mean that they're not what we're looking for. You know, you're going to find a lot of players that, I mean, there's a lot of players, you know, what you're looking for is the intangibles, the mindset, the dedication, the self-discipline, the consistency, the reliability, Those are the type of things you need to be looking for in your recruitment process. You know what I mean? Like the gear, it's a byproduct. You know what I mean? Like as long as they, as long as you can tell they're putting a lot of effort and time into their character. And I'm not saying we're gonna, have somebody applied here in full tier 11 heroic shit. It's clear that guy's not really doing what he needs to be doing. You know what I mean? Like he's not been in the mix for a couple of tiers now. I mean that's an exception. I mean you're not going to, you got to draw the line somewhere. And I'm just saying, like, as long as you can tell somebody is putting the time and all that into their character, you don't really want to, be like, oh, you're 3 eye levels short, get out of here. You don't. That's not really the way you need to be looking at things. Let's see. Are Disc Priests better than Holy in every fight in Dragon Soul? We'll kind of go over that. That would be a question Affinity or Nodos or any of them that are around would be qualified to answer. I like Disc Priests just because of their raid utility, but there would be some fights where Holy Priests could be viable. But let's see here. Okay, let me go ahead and keep it moving with this, and I'll try to keep caught up with questions. And again, if you guys are just joining, we've got a few people joining in. This is the Tuesday raid leader discussion. We're just kind of going over 10 versus 25 man debate. So, nothing super complex. Just going through each one of the fights, pointing out pros and cons, suggested healer comps if you're going into it as a raid leader, either in a 10 man environment or a 25 man environment, and then we'll go over which one we think is harder. Okay, and speaking of which, let's go ahead and make these columns. We're going to say 10 man harder. We're just going to make 2 columns here. 25 man harder. And we're going to give each fight a rating. And this is my opinion, obviously, so take it for what it's worth. Alright. Morchok, we're just going to put equal across these. They're both equally easy. Then we're going to move on to Zon'ozz here. Zon'ozz, same deal, or let's see, 3 heal possible, recommend 2. Alright, I just misspelled recommend again. Recommended, I just misspelled it earlier. Let's see what it tells me to do. Dictionary.com. Recommend 1C, thank you, 1C. That's where I was messing it up. Recommend 2, okay. One thing about this, a lot of this is very strat dependent on number of healers used. Ranged DPS superior for this fight. As far as comp goes, 10 man, I would put DK greater than Druid, greater than Pally, greater than Warrior. My opinion, don't kill me, alright? And the reason for that is DK, self-healing, and CDs are far, and short CDs are far superior. Doable with any class. It's just my opinion on food chain. Okay. 25 man healer comp. I think eventually, I don't know, I would recommend for any guild coming into it, 6. I would recommend 6. And comments, try healing through the debuff. Just stay stacked and use group healing. Druids excel at black phase. Healers with raid CDs excel at non-black phase. The AM, barrier, spirit link, etc. The reason that a druid is good on that fight is just because of its mobility and things like that. Healer comments on 10 man. Yeah, I don't really feel too qualified to make a judgment call based on which one is harder or easier, or I'm sorry, which healer comp is the best for that. It would be Pally plus something. So, Pally plus 1 and 2 others. Pally's a staple. I'm actually going to give 10 man the edge in this one, just because I think it's harder in 10 man. I really do. It's not saying 25 man's easy, but I just feel like that fight is harder in 10 man. 25 man, it's the same really. 10 man, tank comments. Tank comments. Okay. Alright, let's move on. Let me see about what, let's see what you guys got here. Wait, you recommend 3 healing Zon'ozz? We found it almost impossible to 2 heal during black phase. Yeah, it just depends on your healers, man. Like I said, this isn't the fucking JV recommendation. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm saying, if you want to make sure your healers are on top of their shit, it's easily. I mean, I'm not gonna say easily, but it's definitely 2 healable. And I don't mean that by like, you know, you should be able to 2 heal it with perfect RNG. I'm saying, like, if you're doing the fight the way that it should be done, and your healers are, you know, if you've got everything working like a well-oiled machine, you should be able to 2 heal the fight. So these recommendations are not based on what's going to pay the bill. You know what I mean? Like, this is what you need to be shooting for. Not like, oh, well, let's just do this because it's doable. That's never really the mindset you should have. It's not like, oh, let's just fucking 7 heal this fight because we don't need the DPS. You know what I mean? Like, that's never a mindset you want to adopt. You know, just because you can do it doesn't mean that's what you wanted or you should do. So keep that in mind. So no, you do not need 3. We do 2 heals on. You guys go back to watch last night's stream. I mean, we had 5th string alts in there and a buyer, so we were 9-manning the fight, and we hit enrage at 7% with 2 healers, and that's not a 2 healer. That's not a healer issue. You know, we're hitting enrage at 7% with those 5th string alts that have really bad gear. We only had 1 range DPS in the raid. I mean, it was like uber shit mode, you know what I mean? And we 2 healed it. So, you know, I would say put 2 healers on it and make them get big. And if they can't do it, they need to get better. So, I mean, this, again, my opinion, take it for what you want. If you don't have a Pally, that kind of does change things. But, yeah, let's see. I'll go ahead and annotate that. 2 healing 10 men is harder, but if healers are good, they should be able to do this without much an issue. There. I'll go ahead and annotate that. That way you guys know that what I'm going for, or what I mean by that. Alright, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. We're going to go to Yor'sahh here. You want to 2 heal this. 2 heal. 3 if needed. But you shouldn't. Okay. Healer comments on this. 10 man. Pally plus whatever. I'm partial to Pallies, man. They're just so strong. The AMs, the Sacks, the, you know, Beacon. I mean, dude, it's pretty hard to top a Pally. Just the throughput CDs, Wings, you know, Divine Favor, all that shit. Then at this point in stage in the game, I don't know, I would put 5 recommended. Healers with raid CDs greater than priority. Okay, meaning i.e. disc over holy. You know, anything, or shaman over druid, just as for spirit link. Druid, you know, I'll just swear, druid loses viability through not having mitigating CDs. Okay. This fight, you put DK about 10 times better than, I don't even know what I would give. Druid, Pally, greater than Warrior. Okay, that is how that goes. And DK, there, I'll just copy this, because it's about what it is here as well. So, I mean, that's kind of the same deal. Self-healing through purple. Self-healing during purple and short CDs for magic mitigation are far superior. Again, it's doable with any one of the classes, but that is definitely the case on this. And this one I'm going to give 25 man, harder than, I don't think that fight is that difficult at all in 10 man. It's one of those fights where it's you know, even just, I mean, you can solo tank it on 10 man pretty easily. I don't know, maybe not with a warrior. I mean, the warrior even could if you have a TB trinket. We're going to put that in here. Tanks need TB trinket, resist trinket. Okay, so go ahead and annotate that. And then we're going to move on here. Let's see. Hagara, this one is harder on 10 man by a substantial margin. I would say a 3 heal it, 2 possible. 2 is possible. Yeah, again, Pally plus whatever. As far as this one, I would say 5. Yeah, 5 recommended. 10 man, it's actually 10 man is substantially harder to deal with the what's that shit called? Ice lance beams, and the nuke from Hagara. Forget what that thing's called. She shoots out at a specific target that deals more damage based on if it gets stacks from that ice lance shit. I forget what the thing is called. She does this, is it shattering ice or something? I don't remember the name of it, but yeah, the thing that she shoots at a player, I mean, that gets pretty rough on a 10 man. I talked to my buddy. He does a 10 man shattered ice. Somebody said it. Thanks. From the shattered ice nuke. One thing you want to do about that, you can. My buddy told me about this. If shattered ice is a problem, use focus sac macros from the pallies when ice lances are active. Okay, so if you know it's about to face melt somebody, you know, and you got a holy pally, a red pally, a prot pally, whatever, you know, have them, you know, it's a super quick cast, so you got to be Johnny on the spot and hit your focus. You know, you can have a macro that assists the boss and cast sack. So if you're, say, a prop paladin and you see it casting sack, you just hit that macro, or if you see it casting Shattered Ice, you hit that macro and it gets a sack on the target, and it'll keep them from getting wrecked. You know what I mean? Or you can, even as a Disc Priest, just have them make a macro for that fight with, you know, focus shield, anything like that. I mean, you guys get the point. You just want to have some type of mitigation on that because it gets pretty rough in 10 man. 25-man healer comments. Make sure your DPS during the vuln phases. Yeah, that's about it. As far as this fight, I don't know, man. To me, it just seems like somewhat biased, I guess. But I would say still I would put a DK over a Druid on this fight, over a Pally, and then a Warrior. And the reason Warriors just keep bringing up the ass end, man, is just a Pally and a Warrior, the block on the Focused Assault, it just gets rough. You know, no block on Focused Assault hurts block tanks and helps absorb tanks, you know. AMS for Ice Lances is strong too, you know what I mean? So it's same goes for 25 man, same deal. Yeah, let's see. Let's keep this moving. We're gonna go through here. Ultraxion. Yeah, good joke. It's not even the same fight. As far as that goes, 10 man, you really want to 2-heal it. Solo heal is possible on a Pally. I haven't seen a video of anybody solo healing it of a parse, but I've heard a lot of people tell me that. I'm not sure. I'd say 4 recommended, 3 possible, less is possible at this point, or just less is possible. Let's see. Tanks for this fight, they're actually pretty even. I'm just going to go ahead and put that in here. To be honest, hang on. I might go as far as to put a Pally on top here. She's 100% uptime on Holy Shield. Or even a Warrior. Pally Warrior greater than DK Druid for this fight. I mean, the thing about a Druid, Druids have super high damage output. Pally Warrior have perma uptime on shield block, Holy Shield, and tank 4 pieces are super strong on this fight. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it like that. It's not that that's not like a huge gap on any of those, but yeah. I mean, you see the multiple greater than signs. That kind of means that it's a significant amount better. This one, it's it's pretty even, but I would give probably a Pally the edge on that fight just because of D-Sac being on a 1-minute CD, because of the buff, having perma Holy Shield uptime. I don't know, just the D-Sac is pretty strong, and then the Warrior Shield Wall is really strong as well. I mean, you're mitigating a ton of damage through that. But, it's not to take away from the DK and the Druid. The Vamp Blood on a 30-second cooldown, it's really, really strong as well. So, let's see here. Gunship, we're going to go with harder on 10 man. Healer comp for 10 man. Fuck, man, I can't believe it's, if they 2-heal or 3-heal. Yeah, it's 2-heal. Never mind. You want to 2-heal it. I would say 5-heal on 25 man. It's a pretty good general rule of thumb. As far as tanks on this, give a warrior the edge, then Pally, then Druid, and DK. DK is definitely the weakest on that fight by a substantial margin. The only benefit to a DK, just block tanks during Warmaster phase, excel, warrior, mobility, and short 4-piece on raid, super strong. Okay, so that's kind of the same way for this as it is that. Just for the, let's see, healer comp, just make sure you have CDs lined up for each large barrage soak. AM, shield wall, 4-piece, MZ, barrier, etc. You guys get the picture. So it's kind of the same on both of these. Just make sure your healers have that organized and who's doing what, spirit links, all that. As far as healers on Ultraxion, make sure buffs are handed out appropriately. I know green equals, well, I should get Affinity in here and ask him this. Blue equals, and then red equals. I think the red's the Pally one. I'm not sure. I'll just let him, I'll let one of the healers come in here and give you guys some insight on that, and we'll get back to that. But as far as the fight's difficulty on a grand scale, we're going to stick with those. Let me see here. Let's see what's going on. The things for 10-man fight is much harder on 10-man due to coordination on soaking with less than half the amount of people you have in 25-man. So the deal in 25-man, you can, with Gunship, is that you can kind of just ignore the soaks on 25-man. I mean, if you guys have watched the stream for the past few weeks in our runs, and you can watch it tonight, you can just almost ignore it and just stack up in the middle and just chain heal through, or not literally chain heal, but I mean that is group heal through the charges. You just get people in barrages, restack, and in 10-man you can't do that. You have to soak, and you have to coordinate the soaks, and you have to coordinate who's using what cooldowns. But I mean, it's just 10-man on that fight is a lot harder, and it's a lot more critical and unforgiving on 10-man than it is 25. You've got so many people to help soak on 25-man. It's not that easy on 10-man compared to 25. Okay. Let's see. Let's actually get a total column right here. So right now we have a total column of 1, 2, 3 that are harder on 10-man, and we have 1, 2 that are harder on 25 right now. Let's work our way to moving to spine next. Let's get some color coding in here, just because I enjoy it. Spine. Okay, so now we're at spine. I am going to give this fight a harder on 25-man, just because it is. Okay, 10-man, you want to 3 heal it, 3 heal 2 possible. 25-man, you want to 5 heal 4 possible. We 4-healed it the other week by accident, but you kind of want to have 5. Biggest thing on this is just Pally, Shaman, Disc is best comp, IMO. Just mitigation, utility is much higher with that comp compared to anything with a druid. Just ensure you have CDs lined up for each Amalg, explosion, control, killing bloods, use off-spec healing, tranks, hymns during rolls. Let Spirit Link do the work for you when you drop it. I do not drop it at when the raid is topped. Okay. If you guys haven't seen the spine video that I actually did a complete walkthrough through spine. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys this link. This is on my Facebook, and it's also on my YouTube, whatever. You can go to that. It's got a link to every bit of what you need to know about spine, okay? And that goes from healing to, I mean, you know, there is some more in-depth stuff that you could find to, you know, by talking to someone of a specific class, like what does this class do to min-max? But just from an overall fight sense, that covers everything that you need to know, alright? So, it explains to you why and how Spirit Link should be used, and if you guys are on spine recurrently, you need to make sure that you go check that out, because it's not something that you need to overlook. By understanding Spirit Link and how it works, that's going to come down to making the difference between you killing the fight or you not killing the fight. All right, I mean, it is huge. On this fight, I'm going to give a warrior the edge over a Pally, and then I'm going to say DK Druid are right after that. They're pretty equal. Just warrior kiting is superior. DK 4-piece helps a ton with assisted healing, while Salty is active. Druid 4-piece on rolls is also exceptional. Okay, so that's what we're going to go with as far as like just quick tank comments. It stands the same. And, you know, this is... Alright, so we got all that done. We're actually tied it up now. It's like 3-3. I mean, this tier they did a pretty good job balancing it. And we're going to get to Madness. Let's see. So, just talking about Madness, I'll come back to which one I'm going to rate harder. I'm just going to go with the healing. I would say 3 heal it, 2 possible. Far as healer assignments, ensure your raid is only taking the slaps to 1 to 2 people at a time. Positioning is key. Recommend that you use a Shaman for the 10% HP and AF on the raid. Minus 10% physical damage taken. Alright, so that's pretty huge, okay? Far as 25 man, you can, I'd say for people that are out there that are just doing it or whatever, 5 heal it, less is possible. It's not an issue of like, you know what I mean, sure, if you've got a full set of mains in there that are like near full best in slot at this point, you can get away with healing a lot less. But pretty much these numbers that I'm throwing out there for you guys is pretty spot on. I mean, at the end of the day, you just need to understand your guild, what's going to be best for your guild, and then make the decision based on that. So let's finish this up, and then I can go ahead and start taking some questions from you guys. 2 shaman, if possible. Healing rain, keeping up ancestral, a vigor, and a fortitude. To keep healing rain on both ranged and melee. Assign groups to and max slap damage and healing taken. Okay. One thing I'm going to link you guys real quick from this is we have a guide that I wrote, and I'm just going to throw this in chat, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about with the healing range, right? The way that you want to deal with this, I went over this in my Madness walkthrough, but just to show you guys what I'm talking about, when you look at this, you look at the healing rain. We have all 3 of these groups in the same healing rain, and only one group at a time is getting hit by the slap, so it's easy to top them off. And then you have the melee, which is in their group right here, that is getting hit with a slap. So you basically control who's getting hit with the slap to minimize the amount of healing done, and that's why healing rain is that big of a difference. And the reason I say that a shaman is recommended for 10-man, right? Like, you don't need a shaman to make it happen, but when we were in there on alts and when we killed it, we ran into a problem with Affinity. He was on his druid, alright? I mean, his druid, ridiculous throughput numbers, man. I mean, it was just, this is a prime example of where you always hear people, well, I do good numbers on my druid, I out-heal so-and-so. Well, that's great and all that you out-heal someone, but whenever they're getting just destroyed because they're taking 10% more damage than they would have been taking if you had a shaman in the raid instead of a druid because of having AF open, or, they also have 10% less HP than they would have if they have a shaman in the raid, that shit adds up. So, I mean, you're looking at a 20% swing. They have 10% more health, and they're taking 10% less damage. You know what I mean? So, it makes a very, very drastic difference on the amount of damage that your raid takes on that fight by having a shaman involved. So, if you're running into problems on Madness with people dying to the slaps and things like that, I would definitely say just if you don't have a shaman, add one. On this fight, I'm going to go back to, actually I'm just going to, DK far and above. I'll do 3 greater thans above a druid, and then 2 greater thans above a pally warrior. And the reason for this is absorbs greater than blocks, since you cannot block impale. DK has controlled mitigation to the point of needing 0 external CDs to survive. Okay, that is the case with Madness, and that's one thing that really needs to be stuck with. So I am actually going to, as far as like what this fight goes, I mean it's pretty across the board. I'm just going to say equal, to be honest with you. So I mean, like at the end of the day, you've got it's pretty much a dead tie. It's 3-3, and you can't really decide between Morchok and Madness just because they're pretty difficult either way it goes. So I mean, overall, what you can take out of this is just like this tier. It's not there's no clear-cut winner as to like what's harder, what's easier. None of that. Okay, I mean, the bottom line is some fights are easier on 10-man, some fights are harder on 10-man. Some fights are easier on 25-man, some fights are easier on, some fights are easier on 25-man, some fights are harder on 25-man. That's just the way it goes. So it flip-flops, and this is obviously my opinion, and this is speaking from someone who has done every one of the fights during his progression point this tier. You know, it's not like we didn't have experience doing so. So you know what I mean? Like it's not any type of skewed basis. It's just my opinion. I tanked them all in the same class. It wasn't like there was a difference. You know, I did one on my main DK and one on the other one. There, you know, I think one eye level difference between the two. So, you know, it's pretty accurate basis of what you should be expecting going into it, and hopefully you know, people are able to look at this and make decisions for their guild as they're going forward. You know what I mean? Like, you know, how many healers should we use for this fight? How many healers should we use for that fight? So, I'll leave this open. Actually, I'm gonna just leave it up, yeah, and give you guys the link again, and you guys can just go to this and reference it and things like that. So, you know, hopefully, yeah, you guys got some stuff from this. Right now, I'm going to go through chat. If you guys have any questions about any of this stuff that we went over right here, make sure to throw them in chat, and I will answer any questions that you guys have. Let me scroll up here and see what you guys have going on. By the way, Weak Horse, I see you typing in here, man. I haven't seen you around lately. We have an entire box full of BL t-shirts, man. Like, we've got a ton. So, resend me your address on Twitch if you can, and I'm going to get you one mailed out. I may need you to compensate me to mail it to the EU, because shipping may be a little bit of a pain, but I want to be able to give the EU guys something. You guys may just have to help me out on the shipping cost. I'm not sure how much it costs, though. Let me get your address, and then I'll look it up. It's kind of off topic. We'll keep it going here. Let's see. Can you talk a little bit more about the DPS in 10-mans? How many range should we be looking for? Things like that. The only fight where I would say ranged is just like, oh my god, you need ranged DPS. Melee, or let's just go through them super quick. I'll actually make a column later on, maybe, if I get around to it, but don't have the time right now. Actually, let's just go ahead and do it. Ranged or melee. Okay, Morchok. Doesn't matter. Zon'ozz. Ranged. Greater than melee. Yor'sahh. Doesn't matter as much. Hagara. Doesn't really matter that much. Ultraxion. Doesn't matter that much. Gunship. Ranged, not a lot better, but they're going to be better overall. Somewhat strat dependent. Then looking at spine, rogue, sub-rogue, mage. I'll just title it that. Burst, tendon, damage, greater than anything. Ensure you cover as many raid buffs as possible. Okay, and then madness, I would give ranged the edge on this as well. So just because any more than 2 melee, I mean, having 2 tanks and 2 melee. Actually, let me just word it like this. You should not have more than 3 to 4 melee, including tanks and 10-man. It makes slaps a nightmare. Okay. So I'll just leave that column in there, and that should, I mean, you know, like some of the fights, it's not really that, you know, you're not penalized for really having ranged. Benefit to having ranged. Ranged are strong in that they can DPS ice crystals from the middle during ice phase. Okay, so that's one benefit of range on that fight, but it's not going to be a deal breaker. Same thing with Ultraxion, obviously. So the only fight, I mean, Zon'ozz, you need to have at least, I would say, need to have at least 2 range DPS, if not 3. That would be my recommendation. And yeah, so hopefully that answers that. Yeah, I will. I'll have the link to it. I'm going to upload this to YouTube. This one guy's asking, will this be uploaded? I upload all the shows on YouTube. If you guys are new to the stream, make sure to hit follow. Scroll down and you can see a YouTube link to my YouTube channel. You guys can subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you'll be notified every time that I upload a video. But I do it daily, so make sure you guys are on there, and this will be in the video description on YouTube. So you guys can go back through this, rewatch it. Help me out. Even if you don't really care, just hit subscribe, because me getting subscribers and having video hits and things like that, that's how I'm able to keep doing things like this, like the stream, doing the videos and all that stuff. All right. So one guy, one sec. Skittle says, "Don't you dare say it's harder on 25 man." I'm not sure which fight he was talking about, but maybe he's still around. He can clarify. Try to catch up. You guys actually have a lot of. Let's see. Is it possible to do heroic 10-man with a warrior and paladin tank combo? Yes, it is. It's you can do it on. It's not gonna keep you from killing any of the fights. Some fights it's not necessarily as strong on. Madness. Make sure your warrior has safeguard. You can trade that with the prop pally. The prop pally can sack the warrior can safeguard the pally. It works out pretty smooth. Can you tell the orders of CDs used on each platforms and impales? Yeah, I can actually put my impale chart up here for 1 second if you guys want to look at it. There you go. That's what we used on progression. Haven't really messed with this in a while, but it's a general rule of thumb. You guys can obviously replace it. Say if you're a warrior, or say if you're a druid instead of a death knight, you would just replace bone shield with bark skin. Your Sarah is the same. And my IBF equals your survival instincts, and use frenzy regen whenever. You don't really need it. So this has a question about Hagara heroic. I normally 3-heal this on 10-man, and on Ice Phase we have the range and heal stack in the middle. If we were to 2-heal it, should everyone be running around? Yeah, if you're 2-healing it, you may not be able to just stack in the middle. The thing about Hagara, it's not hard at all if you just have people that aren't retarded and can watch their debuffs, and just fucking rotate in a circle while DPSing pillars. Always stay in the front of your quadrant. Don't get greedy. It doesn't matter how long you're in the face. Obviously, you can hit enrage, but it's pretty hard to hit enrage. Let's see. This guy's, you're talking about Madness. I'm not sure, maybe you're in a 10-man guild, and that's why you're so adamant on promoting 10-man being harder. But to be honest, Madness is not really that much different on 10 or 25-man. I'd maybe give 25-man a slight edge to be a little. It's too similar to really give an edge. The ones I'm giving an edge to is labeling harder or easier. It's clear cut, you know what I mean? It's not even really a gray area. Like Spine is hands down harder on 25-man. Gunship is hands down harder on 10-man. Ultraxion is not even the same fight on 10 and 25-man. Hagara is the same could be said for, that is what it is. And that's a pretty accurate description of all that. So you have two that are, between Morchok and Madness, not really that much difference, and all the rest, it's pretty clear cut which one's going to be easier. Let's see. You guys talking about B-reses, that's kind of a big deal, I guess, but you have less than half the people, you have one B-res. If anything, you could probably get away with the argument that you deserve one more B-res in 10-man, but it's not really that big of a deal, to be honest with you. So, all in all, that actually took a little bit longer than I had expected, but it turned out pretty good. We got a whole spreadsheet going, let you guys give some input on that and ask some questions. So hopefully you guys are able to watch this and, learn something at least, or even just, you know, take this and share it to one of your friends who's working on a fight. You know, like, any of these comments can be helpful to some people in certain situations. One thing I'll make sure to update on this is which healers are best for which buffs on Ultraxion. Go ahead and just mark this for attention. And then I'll get those updated for you guys. Okay, so all in all, definitely a pretty solid show. A little less raid leader oriented, a little more just overall fight descriptions, recommendations, suggestions oriented, but that does fall under the raid leader concept. Okay, so tomorrow is tank Q&A. If you guys have audits that you want me to, or armories that you want me to audit, make sure you're following me on Twitter and post them on my Twitter. I'm not going to be pulling armories out of stream chat. I'm going to be on my Twitter, and I'll pull them off that. Okay, and that's where I will audit armories from, is the links that are on my Twitter. And what I mean by that, you know, I can show you guys right here. You know, here's my Twitter account, and you guys make sure you're following me here. We're up to 606, and this is what I'll do to tomorrow's show. I'm going to go to connect, then I will scroll down here and just pick out a couple of armories like this guy here. Please audit my armory. You know, I'm not doing it right now, but I'm showing this is what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm going to open up his armory. You know, there it is, and then I'll go through it and answer, you know, the questions that I always answer. So if you guys want me to audit your armory, or you just want to watch going through armory audits, or you can link anybody's armory, I'll audit it. You know, that'll be part of the Q&A. That's not all we're doing tomorrow. I'll also be answering any questions that you guys have over tank-related stuff. That starts tomorrow at 5 p.m. And again, this is something that will be uploaded on YouTube as well as all the other shows. So, yep, good stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Tonight, we have multiple 8 out of 8 heroic 25 Dragon Soul clears. Okay, so make sure you guys are around. I'm going to chill out a little bit before the raid, run some commercials since I haven't given you guys any. So if you guys don't mind, just sit around while I run a few, probably 3 or 4, and then I'm going to just, you know, chill out before the raid, and then we'll get the raid started. So tonight's game day. Got a lot of bosses to kill. I'm going to be dual wield tanking on my Death Knight, and you guys can just watch and see how that goes. I haven't done a full clear like that yet, but I'll do a full 8 out of 8 clear with dual wield tanking on it. Okay, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I will, you know, the raid's starting in less than an hour, so just chill out, and I'll have this uploaded to YouTube later. All right, good talk.